Hey everybody, this is Ericka Williams from the Classy Climb blog. You're getting ready to watch a speech at Andre and Friends Tour in Dallas, Texas, where I talk about investing online. I talk about investing in tax liens, Prosper, Lending Club, and some of the great benefits that come from online investing. So I hope you enjoy the speech. Okay, we don't want to trip. You know, if y'all see this, delete that off the video. We didn't see that. Okay. How you guys doing? I'm Ericka Williams. I don't think everybody knows me in the room, so just gonna introduce myself and kind of tell a little bit of my story so that it's like, who is this chick coming up here talking? I don't know her. But the name of this is 16% Solution. And yes, I'm talking about tax liens, but I'm gonna talk about how I got to tax liens. Because we never just go, you know what I need? I need more money. Why? Why though? What is the factors leading up to that made you go, I need more money or I need to invest my money? So a little bit about me. I had a coffee shop in North Carolina, Fayetteville, North Carolina, across from Fayetteville State University. Fayetteville State University is a historically black college. They started kind of tearing up the road a little bit, improving it, highway. So I ended up closing my business. Several other businesses on that little plaza did too. So at that point I said, you know, it's time for some new energy, some new air. Came on to Texas. So I was in Texas and I was working as a property manager. I was an assistant manager, but see, like, not the cool assistant manager. I'm the assistant manager that's stuff in the corner that does billing, right? So you're looking at all the bills, you're looking at all these documents, and what I saw, two things that stuck out that blew my mind. We'd have engineers making 10, 12 grand a month, and they would get turned down because they had a previous eviction. So this person's making bank, but we're turning them down because what? Something on their credit, okay? So that kept hitting me like, this guy got money. Look, he's got a BMW. Oh. He's got that eviction, he's out, right? Can't come. Another thing I saw was there was a guy, he was the same age as me. Well, he was a little bit older. He was like 32. And he had made $500,000 that year with his painting company. Why? Because the apartment complex thought, hey, we're gonna save money. Instead of hiring a guy and paying him $50K a year to paint all the turnovers, we'll just be cheap and we'll just pay a company to do turnover. So at the time you think, well, we're just paying a company maybe $200, $300 to not only repaint the insides, make sure it's ready for new tenants, but they decided that year, no, we're also going to paint the door. We're going to sand the doors down, change the locks, and repaint all the doors. So that moved that little bit of $300 to $600, $700. So now, also that summer, that apartment complex decided to raise the rent. What messed them up is all the tenants were like, no, thank you. So we lost 160 tenants that summer. So now that guy who was just gonna make, you know, $300 per week was not only making $300, he was making $700, $800. And because it was compressed time and they need him to hurry up, now he got to pay more. It's closer to $1,000. So this guy ended up turning over 160. And because we see, people are kind of like the Joneses. So when you see your neighbor move, where are you moving? I want to move there too. So all of a sudden we went from 160 movers to 220 movers. And this kid went from small contract to $500,000 contract, the course of a year and like maybe 2 more months. So that, I'm in the office doing billing. I'm writing the checks. I'm clearing things. I'm like, I'm in the wrong business. I need to get out of the business I'm in. So as I'm looking at those numbers go across my desk, I'm like, I got to get something. I got to start something. So I talk to the guy and I go to a little hangout and all the guys in there are young, blue jeans, cowboy boots, and they're laughing because they know they're gonna hit. Everybody's gonna hit at some point. Some apartment complex is gonna need to update. So everybody had their different niches, whether it was carpet cleaning, carpet removal, something. So that led me to call my friend. His name is not Andre, but Andrew. So I know too many Andres, I know too many. So I call him, we start our company, and literally realize people are willing to work for $10, $11, $12, $13 an hour painting because they cannot legally start their own businesses for whatever reasons. They just couldn't. So we ended up making a killing with that. But at the same time, I started YouTubing and telling people my journey and talking about real estate because the same thing happened when I'm in there doing billing. I knew people who needed to move, but it was a conflict of interest. So I had to always refer them to somebody else. And if you know anything about Texas, I don't know if you do, you get the first month's rent. So I looked up and I tallied for myself, you know, these little $50 gift cards they send me, you know, these little gift cards. I looked up, I said, hold on, I done sent 75 people to 2 different people. Now, if I calculate their first month's rent check, that was $1,000 to $1,500 per person. So I just waved goodbye to 75,000. I'm just doing nice numbers, because if I just say any higher, I might make myself cry, like, hurts. So I'm sitting here in the back, billings manager, sending out money. Money's just leaving me left and right. And I go, that's not what I came to Texas for. I didn't come to Texas to make everybody else rich. I didn't come to Texas, I came to Texas to strike gold, okay? Anybody watch Dallas in the 80s, you know, your grandma made you watch it or something, you sit on the couch, you know what I mean? So at that point, I went and got my real estate license. At that point, I started the painting company, and I started filming for YouTube. So along the way, a lot of things that came up as an agent, I was just an apartment locator mostly. I kept seeing people were making money in the gig economy, right? They were part-time Ubering and Lyfting, and you know, sometimes they'd have trouble proving their income. So at that point, that's when I just started talking more in the videos and showing people, how do you document? How do you get a business bank account? You know, put all that money over there. Like, keep track of it. And that kind of started the journey for YouTube for sure. So again, lots of sharing, lots of videos. Right now, I think I'm at 1,500, Dre. Videos easily. It gets silly. It gets silly, but yeah, Facebook group. Like we're not gonna go too crazy on the conversation, but you know, they listening. Okay. So at that time, Dre approached me for the Dr. Boyce Watkins interview, or was it? I interviewed Juan Pablo, 100% Finance.
It was. I interviewed you for the Black Real Estate School, the tax.
Right.
And
Okay. So had a refresher, because I would have told that story different. Okay, so I was interviewing people like Juan Pablo, 100% Finance, all these really cool people, because if you actually start changing your focus, people come all over the place, right? All of the woodwork. All of a sudden, you know, people are falling out of the sky talking to you. So I talk to Dre, we do our interview. Literally not even 2 days, 3 days, I end up getting over the next 40 days, 600 calls. 600 paid consultations, paid. And I was like, light bulb, ding, 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 ding. Need to raise my prices, they're too cheap. Nah. So, and I was tracking it. I had this like, QuickBooks is like telling me bing, 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 bing. And I'm like, okay. So, you know, answers are in your face always. The answers always open up in the...
I want to real quick. So,
sure.
So at that time, I was still building up the platform. So like Ericka just helped me out on a pro bono tip. Hence the importance of when you're first starting out of being ego-less per se, and just doing free stuff and trying to help people out. So that free video, I was able to promote it on Dr. Watkins' platform, which has a bunch of freaking people. And from that, I got 600 paid calls. So when you're starting out, drop the ego and just do stuff for people and help out. Of course, you have your line, but if you don't have any money and you're starting out, don't have an ego. You don't have a line, just do stuff, and it will come back to you. So
these are the 3 books I've written since I started talking to people like, well, you know, Eric, I don't want to read your book. Tell me some other books. So hey, I'm always open to tell, and I know you're eating, I don't want to mess your hands up, but these are 4 books. I mean, I have a library of probably 1,000 books. So there's 400 books in my mom's garage, which she's like, get these books up out of here, because she's moved to a smaller house off of a lake. So these are just some I grabbed that really stood out. So The One Thing by Gary Keller. You know, you don't have to pass around. I know y'all eating and some of y'all chilling. Cash Flow Quadrant. Now everybody says, you know, Rich Dad Poor Dad changed my life. Okay, look. Okay, let's take it to the next level and read this one. If you like Rich Dad Poor Dad, I really strongly suggest you read this one, because at this point, this was the answer. Now, what do I mean this is the answer? I'm sitting in there, I'm getting paid a salary, I'm a billings manager, but I'm seeing money pass me, and I realize, oh, I really don't want to work for somebody. I almost don't even want to be self-employed. I would rather be big business. I'd rather have, you know, money come to me. You know, and then I really realized I'm just an investor. I really want to be an investor, but how do I get there, right? And so I think this book really helps you, it turns some knobs. And so I think for people who are like, oh, Rich Dad Poor Dad, I'm like, one more, read this one and call me back Thursday, right? So This is another one. This is perfect example. Probably Andre, you did passive income yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a father and his 2 sons. And they probably taking the checks all the way to the bank laughing. So this is Douglas Andrew and his 2 sons. But this book, the reason it changed my mind, it's old. It's not as young as it used to be. Millionaire by 30. Now many people are like, Ericka, get out of here with that mess. You know, my children still live at home. You know, they working at Papa John's, whatever, right? But in this book, it turned some things for me. There's a triangle in the book, and I'll pass it around. You guys can look at it. And in this book, it was talking about insurance. Now I'm not going to market it per se, but it was talking about insurance. And then when you thought about it, if your son or daughter has a high-paying job, and they put away $500 to $900 a month for 10 years, then they can pretty much withdraw from that for the next 20 years. I mean, there's just some things in here when I read it, I was like, ain't nobody told me about this. Oh, this, what's going on, right? So I really think if you get a chance to read this book, I think it's life-changing. And the pyramid in the back, I got pockets. Hold on, y'all. Hold on, carefully not push the button. In the book, on page, if I can find it, it'd be super nice. Listen. Oh, lucky me. Okay, so right here is this triangle. And I want you guys to pass the book around for though, because I think if you see all the options they had in here, from land to trees to mutual funds to CDs to insurance to treasury bonds, money market. I just read this book and felt like no one's ever taught me any of these things. Even though my family is very invested focused, I'm missing so many keys. So you eating that good food, I'm gonna let you start here. You guys totally pass that around. And the next one that it looks cheap. People are like, I don't want that book. This is a really good book. This one is called How to Invest in Debt. Now, first thing people are like, I don't get what you're saying, Ericka. But in this book alone, from U-Haul investing and U-Hauls to investing in mortgages to investing in defaulted notes, like you name it, it's in here. And I think you should check this one out too. But again, you can do what you gotta do. So keep it moving. I think those are just a few of the books that you guys can definitely check out. All right, so to finish that out, Why the Rich Get Richer. I know you guys been on Facebook, seen this shared 27,000 times. You know, it's somebody else's fault. It's somebody else's fault, you know? And whenever I see this, I don't think people really grasp that your money is just like a little soldier and it goes out and does whatever you want it to do. Whatever you decide for it to do, that's what it does. So if you want it to have a nice house, cool. You want to have nice cars, cool. It's just going to do what you send it to do. But if you send it over here, just carefully getting stocks and getting bonds and getting tax liens and getting tax deeds and buying, acres, land lots, whatever, you name it, your money's just doing what you ask it to do. Are you asking it to keep coming back and paying you? Are you asking it to give you more? It's just something to think on. So this is my favorite part of the conversation because I know you guys, have anybody heard of anybody having a car loan at 20% interest? Heard? Yeah, right, have you heard it though? I mean, I'll tell you right now, I'm at maybe 2,700 phone calls and I've heard 20 and 22% interest more than I would like to care for. Way more. So credit cards. 22% interest, that sound familiar? 29% interest, does that sound familiar? Payday loans, we don't even want to put those up there because it's gross. I'm talking about 400%, I'm talking about just like break your ankles percents, right? I'm serious, it's terrible. So but I've even seen a couple, I'm not going to say how many, but because who knows, they might be watching these videos later. I've actually seen people have a mortgage at 10 and 12 and 13%. And I was like, when did you get this, in the 80s? When did you get this? Who offered you this and you signed the paper willingly? Who's your agent? Go back in the alley and beat them. Who did this to you? This is offensive. I mean, 10% on a house, y'all. How much are houses here in Dallas? How much are houses here in Dallas? 250 at 10%? Okay, listen, I'm in Austin. We're at 330, 350, 375. If you want to be downtown and look pretty, 400,000, 500,000, and you're talking about 10, 12% on a mortgage? what? That's ridiculous. So reason I put property tax up there and insurance is, it's a book called The 16% Solution. I definitely want you to read it. But you got to think about it. Every day, people are getting really high interest rates out of you. Whether it's your car, even if your car can be low, whether it's your home, whether, you name it. There's interest leaving you. There's high interest rate things. Your property taxes are coming out every year. Your insurance is coming out every month. Listen, when I pay my insurance, I'm like, look, I didn't have no accident this year. Anybody gonna pay me back? I was driving good. I don't know. Same thing when it comes to healthcare. I mean, you name it, there's high interest. You're losing money every day, whether it's debt, inflation, or taxes. So when I thought about that, the more I read and all these things were happening to me, I was like, life requires streams. This is my favorite little drawing in my office, y'all. I was so excited. I put it all over Instagram. And I was on the phone with people every day. And the first thing people go, well, Ericka, you know, I got to have my trips, okay? Yeah. My wife, my husband, 80% of my YouTube audience is male. But trust me, when they on the phone with me, 90% of the time they're on a speakerphone and their wife is listening right there. So again, wife, husband, moving, retirement, your parents, because now we're in a generation of people, not only are they worrying about mom and dad, where are they gonna go? Now my adult children might be returning home. So we got kids, we got inflation, cars, because you ever seen people get out of the military and they're like, I gotta get my retirement car, okay? You're like, but you're getting out. That income stream is stopping, but they gotta get the retirement car, okay? So I put food, tithes, and giving, right? Because food can go anywhere from you going out every night to you coming home and cooking, food costs either way. So life requires streams. And most people are like, Ericka, I got a job. I got the job, Ericka, don't you worry. I got a good job. Okay, but all these things are coming for that job money. Mm-hmm. And even when they go, I got a 401k, Ericka. Okay, even if you start drawing from that bad boy, will it last 30 years? I don't know. So I always put on here some nice pretty things, some gold, some silver, a lending club, land, farm, timber, rental income, bank CDs, and insurance. I put these a little bit lower for a very purpose, okay? I think rental income is one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. Now, I've actually have a family member, they know they are a story I talk about for the past 4 years on YouTube. She's a distant cousin, but she's lived in one house for 27 years. The owner came to her, hey, girl, I'm getting old, I'm gonna give all my children these properties. Would you like to buy this house for $30K? You've been living in it 26 years. I wanna offer this to you because he was that sick. I just feel bad. Y'all your children grew up here. Would you like to buy this house? Oh, I ain't got that. She didn't call us. She didn't check with family. She didn't say, let me go on my retirement. She said, oh, I don't got that. And didn't even further push the conversation. No less than 3 months later, he actually dies. His son takes over. Her lease is not renewed. Terrible timing. I think within 6 months she was out of that house. And when she was out of that house, that son came in and cleaned that whole thing up. New kitchen, new everything, new bathroom, new everything. Rented to soldiers for $1,000. She said when she first started renting that house, I think it started at like $250. Then it went up 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now she didn't have all old appliances in there. There was stuff updated here and there. But to think, this man came to you because he knew his children. Now his son is going to do what? Make money off somebody else for the next 30 years, right? So I think rental income is one of the most powerful things I've ever seen. I was in Charleston, South Carolina, and there are people who you'll meet. Their grandma been renting a house, they down the street renting a house, somebody else they know is renting a house, and they've all been renting for probably 25 years amongst all between them. Who owns those houses? That's the key. Who owns those houses? Because that person every month knows you're not going anywhere. So that's why I always put rental here. Land, farm, and timber. If anybody knows kind of the backstory of my family, we had farms in the 80s. There was some discrimination in farm loans. And my grandma was like, yo, we broke. Everybody, let's go. Okay, so I was a little kid at the time. Don't remember a ton. But I remember us all being smashed up in an older Victorian house in North Carolina. And everybody was going to the military. Everybody was trying to become a nurse. One aunt was a teacher. One aunt was a dental hygienist on Fort Bragg. And within 3 years, our whole lives changed. Everybody were back in the ring of things. But that was just my lucky story that I was in a family that everybody was like, ding, 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 it's time to go. So these are one of the most long-term money-making things I've ever seen in my life. If you go to Seattle, Washington, There are families who, if they just cut down one tree, it's $1,000. And they've got hundreds of acres. Wow. So if they just cut down 50 trees a year, keep living their life, you know. So I always recommend people, if you can get land, they're not making any more of it, definitely get it. Now, Lending Club, why is Lending Club down here? It's my baby. I love it. It's one of the first things I ever put some money into, and I was like so proud. At one point in time, I had over 650 notes in Lending Club. Now I'm down to 420 or something like that. And Lending Club was like the doorbell light. I can put $25 here for the next 36 months, be paid small chunks of interest, because I only put $25. But when it started adding up, man, I started seeing those numbers. I was like, this is easy. This is easy money, right? And then the reason I made that book, The Smartphone Millionaire, is because I was telling people, not only could I invest there, I could get money from them. Every one of these sites we keep listing, from Lending Club, Prosper, Rich Uncles, all these places, Fundrise, could also get money in return, get loans. People with American Express cards, they have a business and a personal side for loans, but you gotta be a credit card holder. So it's one of my favorites. And then business side income. Why? Because I believe we as people are builders. I think our souls are more confident when we're building something of our own. When we're tinkering, I mean, you ever seen men in the garage, they've been working on a car 20 years, you're like, this car ain't never gonna run, why is he still out there? But it's a thing up here. Your brain enjoys building. Your brain enjoys it. So even if you have a mom that makes quilts, she liked that. That quilt may be ugly, but she made it. She built something, you know what I'm saying? And I think naturally we're tinkers. Like we tinker with things, we build things. I think you should all, if we can, have something on the side that you control. Because you can't control your daily job. All right, so again, this is the cleaner, neater version. This is the pretty from the internet. So again, earned income, income from a job, profit income, buying and selling, interest income, lending money, Lending Club, residue right here, get paid after work is done. That could be books, that could be courses, that could be real estate, you name it, whatever, right? Dividend income, owning stocks. Quick story with that, I had an amazing professor taught us how to invest in stocks. Out there playing a little too hard with my refund check money from school. Lost $4,000 in penny stocks. Lesson learned. Switch that bad boy over to dividend stock. I'd be like, it got no dividend? I don't know. I don't trust it. It might take my money. So, you know, that's my technique. You don't have to do that. But rental income, capital gains, royalty income. And I was going to put the 1040 on here, but I didn't. Because if you look, when you do Tax Turbo or any of those things, they ask you all these million questions. Did you make farm income? Did you make this income? Did you make business income? Did you make land? They ask you all these questions, but people go, well, I don't make none of them things, and keep on moving. They ask you because it makes sense that you have more than one stream. So, anybody need to take a picture? Anybody got it? I'm gonna go on. Any questions though? I mean, well, we'll wait to the end. Let me do it right. So I have a little saying on the website. I call it ladder income. I made a little PDF, like ladder income. And people are like, you know, somebody came up with, I was like dirty from painting. I wasn't painting, because let's be true, I ain't painted a thing, okay? I just went to a site and had paint on me. So they were like, man, Ericka, you're always climbing, girl. Look at you, classy climbing. I just laugh because that's what I end up naming my YouTube channel, The Classy Climb, and my blog. And what was funny is I was like, gonna do some cool ladder thing. She was like, that's stupid. So classy climb stayed. All right, there we go. So, but that's my thought, is like laddering it up so that you can do whatever the next thing is. So again, the companies I talked about, Stockpile, multiple note sites, these are all things you can find out on my YouTube channel. I talk about Rich Uncles, Fundrise, Prosper. We could go in a rabbit hole talking about how many amazing sites there are. There are over 50 real estate crowdfund investing sites. 50. Wow. Fundrise is the daddy though. It's the number one right now. You can pretty much apply, we don't want to get in a rabbit hole, but essentially I could be, as an investor, go, hey, I got this property under contract, I want to do some things. Probably 7 to 12 days I'd have a check ready to go. They have that many people on there. So again, we talked about the cash flow quadrant. Not going to go over that again, but definitely check that book out. Now I love this little thing. It's ugly, it's junky, but I love it because I put it together, 2 minutes. People are always asking me, Ericka, I need 23% returns on my money. Okay, girl, you know what? You need some real estate or apartments. So since we ain't there, let's start back down here. All right, so I always go, as the pyramid goes up and down, we're talking 8 to 12%, 10 to 18, 10 to 20, 23. Now, what are most numbers people hear, right? They hear 4%, 6%. You know, the bank's only giving you 2%, Ericka. But I didn't tell you to go to the bank. I didn't say that. There's lots of places to go. So on the pyramid chart here, Lending Club, Prosper, Rich Uncles, REITs. I put these down here low because you can come in about $25, $50, $100. You chilling, it's not too much, not a big stress. Then you go up higher, Fundrise, crowdfunding groups. You're talking about $500, $1,000. Talking about bigger chunks of money. Now, tax liens. Can you get tax liens $200, $300, $400? We're gonna get that in a second. Yeah, but you're gonna need some extras. You might need 1,000, you might need 2,000, depending on the area, depending on the state, depending on where you're going. Now, REIT side of things, Todd Capital, Black Seed Fund Group. These are two men, you could check them out. They started really great in funding groups. And I enjoy them because put a little money in, eventually get a distribution. Yep. But I'm part owner of 2 houses in Detroit off Todd Capital.
Me too.
Own 1 property by myself in Detroit now. But you can work together in groups. You don't have to go it alone. There's a lot of people out there, and I think what happens is we don't think there are. We're like, oh, I'm talking about these ideals and my cousin, my mom, my brother. Nobody want to hear this. Well, I didn't tell you to tell them. Go out and find people who think like you. You're gonna make the energy you take trying to explain to your family. I went to this conference this weekend. Let me tell you, this girl Ericka came up there and told me, they're gonna be like, okay, first of all, I don't even like the name Ericka. 2, she wearing cowboy boots, questionable. 3, you know, so you done took all the energy from you trying to explain. So again, get where people you wanna. Now here, partnerships and owning deals, right? That 5K, you got 10K, you're like, Ericka, I got 10K, I'm gonna go out and buy this rental. You go buy this rental needs 30K in work. Well, now we gotta start back over because see, you didn't hear me when I was saying work your way up, boo-boo. Work your way up, okay? Teamwork makes the dream work. And then apartments. Now, I was trying to explain to people, I'm in an apartment investing group in Dallas. And you're not coming in there on a deal unless you have minimum 50K, 60K, and that gets you 1%, okay? If you, usually the standard is 100,000, that gets you 1%. Now, but they're promising people 23% returns on their money. Now, here's the difference. You're talking about either getting monthly interest checks or 3 to 5 years of reselling the property so everybody get their payout. And I got people stressing because like, Ericka, I got to give you $1,000 on Detroit. I'm like, sir, you want these high returns? It requires patience. It requires maturity. So the funny thing is I was in one apartment investing group and there was a deal and something happened in the properties in Louisiana and they were upset. They're like, I'm only getting 20% on my money. I'm very upset. And we're in the minutes like, you know what I mean? Anybody would be like, 20% is good. It's good. Like, what you want us to do, sir? This needs to be rectified. I was promised 23%. So I'm just telling you, you have to really get your mind wrapped around. People are out there making 20, 15, 18% interest on their money. Wow. It's out there. So really it's where are you going and where are you putting your money? So, all right. So last time they told me slow it down and clarify. So I got it in big writing. I got my glasses on. I'm ready to read it. I can see. Make sure everybody can see. Everybody can see this. I don't want to be in your way now. Last time it told me slow it down. Okay, I'm ready. All right, so we can be clear. Tax liens is a legal claim by a government entity against a non-compliant taxpayer's assets. That's the way I'm explaining this. The city is going to get their check. They got to pay the parks, they got to pay the trash man, they got to pay people. So either you're going to pay or they're going to sell that tax lien because they need the money. They're not going to be short. You might be short, but they are not going to be short. Tax liens started there, okay? It's money for everybody, right? So then, tax deed. We are in Texas, okay? We'll make sure we're clear. We're in Texas. Tejas, viva de Tejas. A tax deed is a legal document that grants ownership of the property to a government body when the property owner does not pay taxes due on property. Such sales are called tax deed sales, are usually held at auction. Now, just so we're all clear, everybody understand the distinction. Okay, a tax lien is a piece of paper, essentially, you do get a piece of paper in most counties. And it says, hey, when you do pay your taxes, I get my check, okay? Because they're gonna charge 12% interest, 15% interest, 18% interest, and it's backed by the government. So even if it takes a year, you're gonna pay that money, or if it's sold at auction, the person that buys it at auction still got to give you your money because you are now by the government pushed up to first lien position. They got to come to you, okay? They got to give you your check, okay? That is why when people say, Ericka, I don't know about tax liens, tell me where I'm going to put $1,000 over here and get 18% on my money, and the government is going to beat you in the arm for it. I ain't got to do nothing. I can wait. I can sit back. So I call it mailbox money. Now, tax deeds, a little bit more work. Different states. I have a map coming up. I'm going to show you. Tax deeds is saying you haven't paid your taxes for a year, 2, 3, 4 years. Trust me. You're not going to just not pay your taxes for 1 month and then all of a sudden they come take your property. It takes a long time. And the reason I'm going to point out tax deed is I'm in Austin, Texas. And maybe you've heard a lot of the gentrification rumors and they're pushing us out, Ericka, they're pushing us out. It's not pushing you out. You didn't pay your taxes. That's usually what happened. You didn't pay your taxes. Your grandma left your house and you didn't pay them taxes. Let's be honest, okay? So, prime example, I know a family, 5 grown adult children, all married. They all live in Houston. Mom is 95 years old. They done took mom's down in Houston with them. Her house in Austin has $100,000 in back taxes. Now, mama house didn't get $100,000 back taxes last year. Mama house didn't get like that 2 years. Mama house didn't get like that in 3 years. Come on now. Mama house been not paying taxes for years. But this is a paid off house. Daddy, before he died, paid this house off. This house has been paid off in Austin years. Years. Now, everybody take a guess how much this house is worth. Take a guess how much this house is worth in Austin.
300,000.
Anybody else?
600,000.
Anybody?
5.
Anybody? That's the closest. 500,000. It's 2-story. Papa was a handyman. It's well cared for, but it owns 100,000 in back taxes. And between 5 grown adult children and their spouses, no one has decided how we're gonna pay these taxes. Now, in my mind, this is $500,000. It's like $550 at this point. It's a $500,000 house, and the city is still trying to work with you because mom is alive. They're trying to work with you. And you can't get 5 grown adult children to say, hey, I put 20 on it, you put 20, we all put 20. Then we can turn around and sell this house and get all our money back and then some. So I'm just trying to convince y'all, don't let the system use you, use the system. If they would just go down there and go, listen, we need an extension. Our mom is elderly. We're willing to make payments on these taxes. Do you not think the government still wants their money and they'll let you make those payments? For sure. There's no excuses for why it's at $100,000 in back taxes. There's no excuses. So again, these people know I have used this story. They had to sign a nice contract that they knew I was going to use this story. We are all covered in this story. No names have been said. But they're a prime example of how historically, and the house is not in bad shape. This isn't a story where like the wholesalers are like, yes. No, this is a house that's in pretty good condition. It's just has 2 stories. And she can't go up and down stairs. And they all live in Houston. They all have lives in Houston. They all have houses and children. Well, you know, we just let it go. So when people tell me it's an inheritance problem, I'm just going to say it, in the African American community, I don't think it is. I think it is a lack of vision problem. It is a lack of how can we salvage this house problem. It's a lack of this house can pay us all. So, I mean, there's several things, and people can, you know, I get beat up on other platforms. Andre knows I'm a conservative bully or something, they call me. I'm like, I just come on the show, just talk numbers. So, all right. So this is color-coded, so it helps everybody. Where are we in Texas? We are yellow in the Tejas. We are redeemable deeds. You know, it's a nice title. It just makes it nice. Okay, the green is tax liens. The red is tax deeds. The blue is a hybrid state. Tax liens and tax deeds. Everybody, please take your pictures. I'm going to leave it up there for a second. I'm from North Carolina. which I'm gonna roll into the story of why I became online expert on this, because trust me, never again will I get played like that. So you see the colors, you see the states. I like Florida. Florida's my baby. I love investing in Florida. South Carolina and Florida are like the two most invested in. And I really got a cool, unique story about Georgia too. So online is taking over, right? It's easy for cities and states to go, I'm gonna just put myself online. I got time for all these auctions and all this stuff. Like, we can just put it online and people all over the world can invest.
Right.
But Georgia's like, oh no. No, not Georgia. So you got to be at the foot of the place now. You got to be on the steps to do it now in Georgia. They don't want to play that game. And I'll kind of give you the story why. So I'm in North Carolina. I'm young. Our family and my uncles are teaching us about tax liens and tax deeds and what's happened to us and our farm. And like, we still got our farm. Oh my God, we still got it. But now we have to lease it out because we can't afford to do anything with it other than lease it out to other turkey farmers, which turkeys are horrible. Trust me, they're horrible. They're dumb, okay? Turkeys and pigs are dumb. So I'm learning and I go, I got some money, I'm excited. I'm gonna go up here to Cumberland County and get me a property. I'm so excited. I get up on the steps, I got $750 and there's like 10 old white dudes sitting there looking like, what is she doing here? Just looking at me. I'm like, hey, how you doing? I get my property, I get my little piece of paper. All right. I get a call 14 days later. Oh, you've been upset bid. What? Sir, what? What does that mean? Upset bid. A person came in, put 5% on, or $750, whichever's higher. At the time, it was much lower. And I said, no worries, hold on, I'm gonna go to the bank because we ain't playing this game, okay? And at this time, just to give reference, I lost my father and my grandmother in a 6-month span, so I had inheritance money. So I was like, I'm gonna play this. We're gonna play this out. So I go back up there. I just upset him. Take that. This played out for more than 6 months. This man had time. This man is like, you want to keep coming through? And the property wasn't even that great, but it was the adrenaline of like, don't play with me. Sir, you put 5% more up? Okay, I'll back up. Wow. And the lady at the front desk is like, girl, just pick a different one. You want a different one? Like, I'm like, no, I want this because I think he is trying to break my spirit to not come down here when they have always been coming down here and picking what they want. Because even when I claimed it, I was like, I want that one. He looked over at me like, what is she doing? What's she doing up here? She better get on the side of the courthouse and get up out of here. I'm like, no, this is where I need to be. So that experience was so like up the gears up here turning. Okay, if I come up to the steps, they see I'm a woman, they see I'm brown, whatever that may be, I have the money. But now they like, it's just a pride thing. Like, no, I don't want her up here. So at that point, I started learning to do online. And I think so many other minorities did too. Because when I would go online, I'd see a lot of Asian names, Hispanic names, all kind of names, Indian names. And then, Georgia started getting hot. People started moving to Georgia from New York. They started going to Georgia. They're like, I just want to go online. And Georgia's like, you know what? We're going to pass a law. Y'all going to have to come up to the steps. Because it's too much online. Now, is it too much for somebody to hire somebody to check a computer and save them time and money? No. It's just to make sure you know who's in charge here.
Right.
It's a system we have here that's good. Now, why are you coming down here and messing up our system? Now, listen, I get mad with New Yorkers too, but come on now, don't do New Yorkers like that. So that's why Georgia's yellow now. Not just that it's yellow because it's redeemable, but also I put a little asterisk by Georgia because they make you come to the steps. They got too much money coming down there from up north, so they make you. Now, South Carolina, why I deal with South Carolina? They're sweet, they're nice, they're southern. Southern to a fault. I had clients from California, and I said, oh, lady, I can't get down there. Can we just mail in our form? Oh, you know what? You're 3 days before it's ready. Don't worry. Not only can you mail in the form, we'll fill out the little extra piece of paper for you. Just put it all together in one envelope. And my client actually won the bid. And there's still some cities and some counties that it's about the money. They want to be paid. They're probably tired of the last 10 old dudes in the county running everything anyway. Mm-hmm. They want to make the money. So there's all these counties and all these cities. And just to give you an example, North Carolina has 100 counties in it. Just North Carolina. How many counties are in Texas?
206.
Okay. So now imagine what I tell people in every small town, everybody got somebody that owns something, right? Every small town you go in, there's like about 5 families. They own everything. They own everything. They just enjoying their time. They just owning stuff, right? I'm in Fayetteville, and I can tell you, I can look at the names on the buildings and the real estate commercial family that's like the dynasty in my city. It's because the grandpa owned everything, right? Now the kids come through. I want to run for mayor. What you running for? You ain't did nothing. So again, online, the reason I promote so hard for online is that they cannot see you, and then it becomes back to what it's about, money. Who is putting up the green? That's it, right? Because that's what it should be about. It shouldn't be about anything else. It should be like, who is coming to acquire this property, right? So again, there's the colors. Now, anybody who's on Facebook heard about Gary, Indiana, or Alabama? Tax liens wise, like, oh man, okay, you know, you already know, but you heard. So everybody's like, man, Ericka, I like your course and all, but I can go in person to Gary, Indiana and pay like $500 and get a property. I go, well, yeah, you can. It is a tax lien certificate. It's a little bit different, but Gary, Indiana is lacking businesses, school, infrastructure, holes in the road, people have left. Yeah, it's very economically depressed. So, yeah, you got a property, but what is it truly worth? You dig? So, and there's 2 goals when it comes to tax lien and tax deeds. Are you trying to acquire properties? That means you need to have a little bit more of this to fix it. Or are you trying to acquire a lien and get high interest returns on your money? I always want people to be focused on that. So that's Gary, Indiana, and that's just some of that I get a lot of questions on. Now another one is Alabama. Well, people have misconceptions about Alabama. Anybody been to Birmingham? Okay. Have you been to Hoover? Have you been to Vestavia Hills?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so
Close there.
yeah, so you got Birmingham is here, right? It's an hour and 30 less from Atlanta, right? And what was funny while I was down there with the Red Cross when they had the last tornado, there were men riding up in a group of car men going to Atlanta to go out and get a girlfriend. And I'm like, y'all just driving an hour? Like to just get a woman? Like, is it that serious here? It is. It's like they had all these factory jobs and all this work. They're like, I ain't trying to look at her. I'm trying to go all the way to Atlanta, right? So, and funny enough, I did meet several people who had like just got married. I'm like, where y'all meet? In Atlanta, in a nightclub. Okay, well thank you. It's a love story. It's a love story. You know, it's something. So I met a lot of that while I was down there. I was working with my mom. Like my mom was an active duty military for 26 years. She was down there actually helping a unit recover. And so I was down there with Red Cross and I was like, this is so fun. We're together, sort of. But when I was down there, they also have tax lien certificates. Now, something about the South, I think you guys should that this would tie in and make sense. Yes, you can get a $500 Alabama tax lien certificate. And if the house is vacant, you can immediately acquire possession if you buy that tax lien. But again, what part of the line is it on? Just to give you a kind of idea, here's Birmingham. Birmingham is the largest county in the whole United States. Why? Because ain't nobody fighting their gentrification. They just coming up, eating, and annexation, everything around it. So it's the biggest county technically by size in the whole United States. But there's a line. Imaginary line, but if you go lower, you have Vestavia Hills, you have Hoover, and in Hoover, the median income there is $92,000. Now, if you go a little bit up in Birmingham, median income's like 25 or something like that, okay? So you need to know where you're getting this property. Is it above the line or below the imaginary line, okay? Hoover is so wealthy, I'll put it this way, they made an MTV show called 2 Days, and they followed a football team around. This football team was decked out to the nines. They had computers. They had everything that you could think of at their school. This is in Alabama now. This is in the area where the average income's in their section where their school is $92,000, right? Now, when I was down there, to give you an example of the difference, when you go down towards Hoover and Vestavia, they blew the top off a mountain and put a mall there. So when you drive up this hill, it's graded all the way up, and you're just driving up this hill to go to this mall. You eating Panera bread looking over the side of the mountain. So again, when you want to go to Alabama, because you said, Ericka, somebody on Facebook told me, it's like $500. What part of Birmingham? Are you in the low part? You across the railroad tracks? Where you at? You need to know where you're purchasing. So these are just 2 that if you Google tax lien when you leave here, that's something that you're going to hear a lot about. So definitely go check out Birmingham for your own eyes. Like, it's just super interesting. So a lot of headquarters have moved down there. AT&T, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, AT&T, right? So prime example, AT&T has this huge building. It's got a pool in it, it's got a gym in it, it's got a daycare in it, after school program. And I was driving on this road and it was like 100 Indian men just walking to work with lunch pails, like walking down a hill. And I'm like, this is a dangerous road. Do y'all be in the road? There ain't no sidewalks. They don't care. So if you're a real estate investor, you've heard a lot about Alabama and investing in Birmingham. So it's a small circle. But again, I love Florida because you have over OTC. I don't want to get too much into weeds here, but OTC is over the counter. So prime example, Duval County, where our friends Packy and Sandy Judson live, Hood Estates, there was like 58, was it billion, Andre, or was it million? Get it together, get it together. Where they had that many things on sale for tax liens. But what I think happened is, what you're having is, it's not that people don't know their taxes is due. That's not it. Like, what you have to look at some of these tax bills in some of these areas. The auction goes October, November, December for most southern places. What's going on October, November, December? Hey, Halloween, we can't worry about that. You ain't worry about that tax bill. November, Thanksgiving, I got to get this turkey. People coming. You know, December is Christmas for the kids, man, for the kids. You know, we're going to pay them taxes next year. So what ends up happening is these people get on this list. I've even had a tax lien from a Chinese food restaurant business. Do you think they forgot their taxes? No, they doing a cash flow game. They playing like, when is the last moment we can pay those taxes? And I literally was like, I'm gonna go down to Florida, take a picture in front of it, y'all. Knowing I'm not gonna get it, but I just want to show people, I have this tax lien. And then eventually I found out they owned several buildings in that plaza. So that family they knew what they were doing. And the reason I love this map is it just gives you an idea of where all the places your money can go. Yeah, we're in Texas, but we can like invest anywhere. I know who's doing that? Invest anywhere. It may be. I don't think it's me. At the end of the day, I just don't want you to be limited. I wanted to use this map and show you can go anywhere with your money. You can put your money anywhere. And some states are going to be more friendly to you, some are not. You know, we're lucky that we can mail our stuff in at the last minute because December 31st is the date in South Carolina. And they still worked with us. So I think it's really important to kind of review this map, look at this map, decide where you want to be. All right, we talked about them. Okay, so most people's goals is one, tax deed or tax lien certificate states they want to acquire a property. So you need to figure out where we just showed that map, what state it is. Goal 2, 12 to 20% returns on your money. So I didn't want to go too far in the weeds, but what are some questions you guys have about tax liens? And we'll go back to the other page.
Where should we have $3,000? Where would you recommend that we start?
What is your goal?
To
get interest. So here's, I have like, there's several books. I want you to grab 16% solution. But I would say when you go on the website, you can actually go on it'll show you the county records. You can see if they've been paying in the past. They're always late. You can see those things. But also when you go to auction on the tax liens, it has a picture of the home and a little address. So you could do what? Google that address, Google that street, see what the environment is. What is the likelihood this person's gonna pay? Like, I particularly only aim for middle class neighborhoods because I know they're gonna pay. Now, really cool thing about South Carolina, they have a 95 to 98% redemption rate. Now, what does that mean? That means people coming back and paying and getting their stuff. Like, hey, don't let me lose stuff, I'm gonna get them pay. So when they have December 31st, you already know 95% come back and do what? Pay their taxes. So what's happening in March? What's happening in March, April? Hey, they got their money. So, okay. So they get you on one end, October, November, December, they're selling it because guess what? It's the holidays you're not going to pay. But March, April, May, you're going to pay because what? You got your tax refund. And the people play that game for years. I don't know why, but they just do. So in South Carolina, they've made it unique. So first 3 months, 3% interest. Next 3 months is 6% interest. Next 3 months after that, 9% interest. Next 3 months after that, the full 12%. Now, let's say they don't pay that whole year. The year has gone by. You have on March 28th, depending on the year, but March 30th, essentially, you can go in the court and get a quiet, you can use quiet title, but essentially you're going to go in there and essentially they would give you ownership of that property via the courts. Because not only has it been a year, it's been an additional 90 days. Now what happens with most people? People are going to say, Ericka, but what if somebody's poor and they can't afford it, they can't pay their taxes, Ericka? Every city in the United States has a payment plan program. You can come on down there, Aunt Betty, Miss Sally, whoever, I want to give $50 a month until I pay it off. The city will take her payments until. Now they will make sure within the time frame, like, hey, Miss Betty, you coming up on 12 months, you need to finish, you pay this on out, okay? We need to work this out with you. So I always tell people, I'm not taking advantage of anybody. They have a plethora of options to pay their taxes back. They have all kinds of choices to pay their taxes back in a timely manner. A year. Now Florida gives you 2 years. So if life is going wrong for 2 years, we might need to move. We might need to figure out some plan B, right? So funny thing about Florida is I always press, the reason I tell people I preference middle class neighborhoods is there's been horror stories of somebody getting a lien. 2 years later, they're like, we're going to force them to auction. They get to auction, nobody's bidding on it. Why nobody bidding on this? So then they bid on it. Then they get there, it's a hole in the ground, the house burned down. That's why you ain't got your money. You didn't do what? Due diligence. Okay, so we have to do due diligence. They give us options, they give us a GIS map, lots of things we can click on. I don't want to overload you. I put the course where it just follows me on the screen showing you how to go step by step studying it and purchasing it and registering. It's just an option. It's an option you could use. So, make sense? Any other questions?
I have.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, I wonder if there's some property, but the tax has been paid, but the person that was living in it had let it go, have it junky and everything, but the taxes are paid.
That sounds like a wholesaling condition. That sounds like you need to write a letter to them. Would they like to alleviate their problems with this property and you personally buy it? That's a different strategy. I'm not a master in it, but that's something people do every day of the week. They write letters to people. Is your neighbor's yard real bad?
Unfortunately, it's a property that's inherited property that is dealing with a cousin that, own half the property, but then I own the other half. And a military cousin at that.
What?
Can go to the military, have issues. I just was wondering how we're going to end up.
That sounds like a cash for keys situation.
Yeah.
You ever heard of that? I'm gonna give you cash for them keys. like what can we do to get you moved to a new home that's more suitable for you?
And to make it so bad, the military have put him in an apartment. And he went and got help and all of that. But he don't want to get bought out.
Oh yeah, I mean everybody has a price. Everybody has a price. Would you like 15K today? Or do you want 20K tomorrow? I mean, like, I'll wait you out here, you know what I mean? Tell your children that, hey, when I'm gone, tell him we'll buy him out. Just in case, like, keep the pressure up. Don't leave it down. If you have to use an advocate, be a third party person, go buy that and give it back to me in a tax lien or something, a tax LLC, you could do that. There's other choices.
So which states have online auctions?
So that's the cool part. So little snippet, you guys can go, if you're in your computers, it's called the realtaxlien.com. You can go check this out. I show it in my course, but you can, I think most of y'all are smart app people, you can do it. Realtaxlien.com, you go in there, and there's 20 states, and that's just one site. It's becoming super popular. Now, I'm gonna give you my feelings on New Jersey, because everybody at New Jersey got high tax lien, New Jersey. Well, think about New Jersey. The fact about New Jersey is, who is looking to invest in New Jersey? People from New York, okay? So even to get into the online auction for New Jersey, you gotta put $10,000 down in the deposit account before you even start bidding. So again, that's why I go, let's go on right back down to the south here, where it's a little bit cheaper and it's a little bit more affordable. But realtaxlien.com has 20 different states on it. Reason I love that site and use it the most, it also gives you options for tax deeds and foreclosures. You can actually do multiple things on it. But essentially, really popular, what you're gonna see is Arizona. You're going to see lots of articles on tax liens in Arizona. It was a real hot market because Arizona and Las Vegas took the biggest hits the last recession. So they've been real popular as far as tax liens. But there was another picture I had. I don't have it with me, but it was showing where 280,000 people moved to Phoenix, Arizona the past 5 years. Yes. Okay. It'll say the real auction or realtaxlien.com on it. So that's why I love online, because it stops you from having do that compete, right? What are y'all Super Tuesdays here in Dallas?
First Tuesday.
There you go. You ever been down there?
Yeah.
Go down there. I want to see people like Ericka. You know, I like your idea. It's cute. But I'm going down to the steps. Please take your time, take a Tuesday, and go down to Super Tuesday, whether you're in Houston or you're in Dallas. And yeah, do a field trip. It's like 8 different guys. Is it 8 here? Houston's 8. Houston had 8 or 10 one time. It was scary one time. I was like, I gotta get out of here. And they're all reading them off like clockwork. Now, unless you have a team of people and you know which man to stand beside, the one you had your eye on might go right by you, don't even hear it. So I always tell people I like online because it gives me the option to sit down in my chair and decide when I want to go in and I want to go do it. Nobody's gonna rush me. You ain't gonna rush me. I don't like being rushed. You know, I'm gonna go pick it for myself. So I just think the online gives us a lot of power.
Do you have to have cash or a check or certified check?
You can, when you're online, you can. So the thing about online is they might just do a hold, and you can actually procure an actual physical cashier's check if you want to do it. You have options. So.
I just need a bit of clarity.
Okay.
The tax lien versus tax deed.
Okay.
The liens, there are liens on the property, similar to your mortgage lien, those type of things. If they decide to pay it off, then you get.
So a tax lien, to give you an idea, anybody seen your credit report and it has the public information section? And people have bankruptcies there, and then like you get a lien on there, you ain't getting no credit cards this year. You ain't getting no offers for refinancing. You're not getting no offers. Why? Because it's public information that this person does not pay their bills. An important bill, not just any bill, the house bill. So most people are like, hey, Eric, I heard you do a little, credit repair at your office. Can y'all clean this tax lien up? I'm like, sir, we can try. But trust me, they in the office like, verified. Like, they're going to get, because that's the purpose, is to shame you. I mean, if you want to go old school style, shame you into paying your bills. Like, you could lose your property, right? And in this economy, I really truly believe people know the rent too high. So do you want to lose this house because you don't want to pay $500? Some people got $500. My mom has a house on a lake, 4-bedroom, 3-bath. 2-car garage, house on a lake, got in a foreclosure for $150,000, it's worth $300,000. Her taxes are $1,000. Where else is she gonna go and get that same property with the deal she got when she got it for that low? And if people don't realize, Texas actually nationally has higher property taxes than everybody else. We're on average $3,300. The nation on average is $2,100. Yeah, so it's like, there's places where South Carolina, if they got a $1,000 tax bill, you're talking about a giant house. Do you know what I mean? Depending on where it's at. You're talking about Georgia, you're talking about a big house. You've seen all those pictures of Georgia, those literally little mini McMansions they have. So that's why I say go where your money stretches further. That's all. Did that make sense?
Yes. So the tax deeds, though, the government owns essentially has.
Yeah. So the tax deed, when you go down to Texas on the Super Tuesday, and the reason I'm always focusing people towards tax liens is like we may have $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, but a tax deed, you're coming down to Super Tuesday with $50,000, $25,000, $75,000, because the state of Texas and many states, they ain't trying to take your property over $1,000. They give you a couple years where they've been contacting you, and so a tax deed has much more significant weight.
I got you. So that's the difference between, hey, instead of putting my money in the bank, I'm gonna put it into
Exactly.
tax lien versus, hey, I'm gonna go try to acquire this property with a tax lien. So that's
Exactly. So a tax deed is like the paper, you own this property, you have rights, you can go put those people out in Florida in 6 months. Texas, I think you have, I don't want to misquote, I think it's like 2 weeks. You have to notify and do all this paper procedures, but essentially you own that property. And even if the person in Texas goes, well, wait, I have my money, I can pay you tomorrow. Texas makes them pay 25% interest on that. So now, how many people in Texas redeem 25%? Oh, okay, y'all can have that house. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'll start anew somewhere else, right? So, you know, that's why that interest is important, because everybody else here is making a lot of interest. Are you making high interest on your money? That's all. It's like putting your money to good use. But I hope that, one more time, I'm gonna clarify. Tax liens in most of the United States is just a sheet of paper that says you have first lien position, and when they pay their taxes, you're gonna get your 18% mailed to you from the county. And the county be like, don't be calling up here too much, because they'll let you be banned. They will ban you off of that county from doing it in the future. A tax lien certificate, I'm just doing that title, is Indiana and Alabama. They're the only two. There might be another state starting to change their rules, but they're the only two that you buy that tax lien, you actually buy the property. But that's because what? They have a high vacant building problem. They're trying to get rid of, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason their solution's so drastic. So you always gotta do your due diligence. But a tax deed, these yellow states and these hybrid states that are blue, Nevada, I can go down there, and if you start hearing real high numbers like 25,000, 50,000, 75,000, they're talking about you're owning the property. It's different from like a $1,000 check, $2,000 check. You're talking about ownership. So, you good?
So a tax deed is a lead source for investors?
So tax deeds, depending on, so Team Mukes, I don't have their handle, Instagram handle, they're in Houston, and what they do is, Super Tuesday's coming. You know you're on here, they're gonna sell your property, and what they do is they go around calling everybody who's on that list. Hey Barbara, you wanna sell that house? You know, I mean, I could offer you good money minus the bill I gotta pay with the state. You already know I got to pay the state, Barbara, so do you want to sell? Lots of people do that every day of the week. Because why? Either that family doesn't want to pay that tax bill, they just ready to go, ready to cash out. It's abandoned. So there's a lot of ways investors can use this to their benefit. So let's say you at the tax lien place, and every year you come up on this same property, they don't never pay the taxes on time, and you actually drove by it, it looked raggedy, you wrote up a letter, would y'all like to sell? You know, you never know where people are at financially. And a lot of people are inheriting homes that they don't take good care of. They not have a lot of investing in it, so sometimes you do get a lot of people that sell that way. I say it's just a good way to, one, make income on your money, but if you're really trying to hone in on tax deeds, there's many ways you can get the property. There's many ways to use it to your advantage. Solved it, answered it, close. You can let me know if I missed it. Nope, go ahead.
If you can give us an area.
Team Mukes is probably the best.
Maybe your own experience or someone's experience.
I think Team Mukes is probably your best answer. If we get them on Instagram, can you look up Team Mukes on Instagram? I'll give you the handle. So their husband literally goes around, there's a lot of vacant lots in Houston, and they'll contact them through paper, pen, you name it. They're contacting them. Would you like to sell this? Because I see you on Super Tuesday getting ready to come up. And they can give you a better video view of how they do it. But essentially, they made $120,000 last month. Oh, is it? It sure is. Sorry, I'm far away from the thing.
128,000?
120,000. Here's Team Mukes. You can look them up on Instagram. And that's their whole strategy. That's all they do. So you'll see them on camera next week in Detroit. I'll do an interview of them. So there's different ways you can use the tax lien, the tax deed to your advantage. It's up to you. Here, get your phone back. I don't want to touch nobody's phone. Find something I don't want to see. So do you have any questions?
I saw you on YouTube several times talk about Macon, Georgia. So what are your thoughts?
Oh, Macon, Georgia. Yeah. So Macon, Georgia is cheap enough that you could probably go down there and buy a $12,000 house, put 10 into it. Really, because here's the thing. When it comes to long-term rentals, clean, safe, functional. That's what my friends at Hood Estate say. Clean, safe, functional. You'll be amazed how many people live in unclean, unsafe, and unfunctional homes. So if you find a property in Macon, Georgia for 12, 15 grand, and you can get it for, get in some remodel to it and rent it out forever. Again, what did you just do? Create passive income, have a check that comes to you forever. Prime example, and not to do too racial, but like there is a white nationalist group who owns like 25 houses in a one community, African American community in Georgia. And they're writing articles and, oh, this is a shame. Everybody should be ashamed of themselves. I'm like, why? Why should they be ashamed? They purchased these homes. They're renting them out. They're not breaking any laws. They just don't like you, but they're not breaking any laws. So again, I think we're coming to a point in our society where it's a resource based. Like, do you own things? Are things paying you? If not, you're going to maybe be in a position where it's not favorable for you. So, makes sense? Good. All right, everybody. So thank you. Let me for visiting.